Now, you remember the guys that hunted down and ended up killing our brother Ahmaud Arbery? They all was convicted and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. One of them got 30 years with the possibility of parole. Well, a federal judge Monday rejected a plea deal reached by prosecutors and Travis McMichaels on the hate crime charges, an agreement that would have precluded his federal trial in Ahmaud Arbery's killing. I say earlier, McMichaels had agreed to plead guilty to a single hate crime charge, inference with rights, in exchange for prosecutors recommending he serve 30 years in federal prison. Now, under that agreement, McMichaels, 36, would have been transferred from state prison to federal custody. After completing the federal sentence, he would have been returned to Georgia to finish his sentence of life in prison without parole. Is that 5 of those final years is they would have been counted toward his supervised release from federal prison. They said now U.S. District Judge Lisa Goodby Wood said she was not comfortable with the sentencing guidelines. Arbery's family also opposed the deal. Now, the judge had been expected to rule separately on the same plea deal for McMichael's father, Gregory McMichael, but after the judge rejected Travis's deal, attorneys for both McMichaels asked for more time to decide whether to change their pleas to guilty. I said the hearing will be next Friday. Now, it said the family, or Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, was outraged by the proposed deal and said she felt betrayed by the U.S. Justice Department lawyers, which are Biden's DOJ. Okay, she told the court a state judge gave McMichaels exactly what he deserved, life in prison, and urged Wood not to accept the federal plea. It said, please listen to me. That's what the sister said. It said, granting these men their preferred conditions of confinement would defeat me. It gives them one last chance to spit in my face after murdering my son. They said Lee Merritt, said the attorney for the mom, previously called the federal prison a country club compared to state prisons, saying the facilities are less populated, have better funding, and are generally more accommodating than state holding facilities, according to tweets from his account. Now, they say the Arbery family was displeased. Prosecutors had agreed to the deal without the family's consent, and the Justice Department respects the court's decision not to accept the plea agreement. Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark said, but added in the statement that prosecutors entered the plea agreement only after the victim's attorneys informed me that the family was not opposed to it. So which one is it? Were they not opposed to it, or they was? I mean, what they were saying is 30 years and then being in a comfortable facility. No, they need to be in the hardest facilities ever. They say in agreeing to the deal, Travis McMichaels conceded that he killed Ahmaud Arbery when he ran down your brother in public street, acted because of Mr. Arbery's color or race. A prosecutor told Wood that the testimony was important because Travis McMichaels was admitted not only to the crime of killing Arbery, but also racial animus that drove him to commit that crime. Now, they say that the trial was scheduled for Monday with the start of a jury selection. If the case goes to trial, McMichaels each face a penalty of life in prison. We're talking about on the federal level. And so at the state trial in early January, Gregory and Travis McMichaels were convicted. It said of murder in Arbery's death. It said a 25-year-old jogger was shot while running from the McMichaels and another man, William Roddy Bryant. Now, Bryant was convicted in state court and sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. He was in court Monday morning, but did not have a proposed plea on the federal charges. All 3 men were charged with 1 count of interference with rights and 1 count of attempted kidnapping, according to the federal indictment. And Travis McMichaels and Gregory McMichaels was also charged with 1 count of using, carrying, and brandishing, and in Travis' case, discharging a firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence. So, of course, this drew national attention. This was around February 23rd. They were convicted of state charges on February 23rd, 2020 of the murder itself. That's when it happened. They was arrested in May of 2020. That's around that year everything was being turned up. But yeah, Biden's DOJ, went behind, the family's back and tried to give them this deal in a better condition, basically staying on code. Now, they also came out and said that Jim Crow Joe has not pardoned anybody, since he's been in office. But, this is why we have to stay on top of Jim Crow Joe. Watch what he's doing, because he also said he's not reopening the Tamir Rice case. at all. I mean, oh yeah, this guy here, he's not doing nothing for the black community at all. At least these victims of crimes. He's not doing anything whatsoever. This is why we tell y'all that you got to remember that on election day. So November, I think, the 7th or the 8th this year, let your voice be heard. Let it be heard. We cannot support this party because that party don't support us. We're talking about the Democrat Party. And we also don't support the Republican Party either. What we do is we're going to chill our nerves. If you're not going to give us nothing that we need, then we're going to relax. We're not going to waste our time. We're not going to get in there and use our gas or anything. Biden's DOJ has not been doing anything to help out the black community. He hasn't brought in the race soldiers with qualified immunity. Of course, he don't support that because they need the foot soldiers of white supremacy, okay? They need that. That's why you hardly ever see them do this. But, the family is good to call this out, because those guys, what they done, in my opinion, was a death penalty case. That's what should have happened to them personally. Not to go sit in jail for 30 years, even though, especially the father, him being in jail 30 years, that's a life sentence. And the son, he just to give him 30, he would get out, as an older man, but no, he do not need to even have no time out at all. He decides to do that. His life needs to be in prison, and that's it. That is totally it. They chased that brother down. They were just jogging, not doing nothing to nobody, nothing. And the brother fought for his life. I know the brother tried, but that dude had that finger on that trigger. And unfortunately, the brother died. So, yeah, we got to keep an eye on these Democrats. I told you got to keep an eye on them because they pull some shady things. Like I said, they still on code with their people, ladies and gentlemen. Always remember that. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for, joining us on the podcast this morning. We greatly appreciate you joining us. Your first time, make sure you click the like button. And also make sure you subscribe so you know exactly when we're going to post a new podcast. And if you like the show, consider donating a love offering. A love offering, keeps us going and everything, the equipment, the internet, and so many things that goes on. And definitely thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen, and see you next time.